And a for-real business does not rely on a third party to bring in all of your income. That's giving up too much control. It is too risky for me. Our logo, our name, we own the trademarks on all of them. Our website is digital real estate. Our social media page, all of those are assets that create value and can be monetized in the future. Okay. So it was important to me that I am building a for real business that in the future I can monetize and sell when the time comes that I want to exit. You cannot sell an Airbnb listing.
Okay, great. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to this week's episode of Branded and Booked. I am joined today by someone that I had the very special privilege of meeting at Level Up Your Listing. Rose Tipka is a homeschooling mom of six, best-selling author, and a vacation rental expert, founder of Your Family's Place. You guys, they're 70% direct booking. Like, that's what they do. I cannot wait for her to share how they've done this. But it's a vacation rental company nestled in Ohio's Amish country and focused on multi-generational pet-friendly large homes. Rose is also the mom behind Hosting and Motherhood. Think of Rose as your fairy godmother of family vacation, making it easy for moms to actually enjoy their next trip and for hosts to welcome families easier. So, Rose, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you, and I'm stoked for everyone to get to hear a little bit more about your story, which is where I want to kick things off. So, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you.
Sure, absolutely. Well, thank you for having me on the podcast. I'm glad to be here. So my name is Rose, like you said, and yes, I do have six kids. I know how that happens. My husband's very good looking. Thank you very much. Like a lot of people, I didn't actually start out in the hospitality industry. I was a high school science teacher. And when we started, yes, I was a high school science teacher. I was like Miss Frizzle. It was pretty
Oh my
awesome. I
gosh.
loved it. I loved it. But when we started our family, I decided that I wanted to stay home with our kids. And then, gosh, I just keep having babies. So at a certain point, I was like, I have a background in education. I think I want to homeschool my kids. And I guess that's not really a surprise. Us entrepreneurs are pretty independent and like to do things our own way. And certainly my children are not apples that have fallen far from the tree. They are also very independent, very strong-willed children, and they have a lot to say about everything. So yes. So now my husband was actually working in a different industry, and he was in a very bad car accident. And following his car accident, he had shared with me that he really needed to change careers.
Mm.
And so I was trying to figure out how we can pivot. Life is full of pivots, right? And that was when we sort of fell into the hospitality industry because it is something that allows us to make money while we are at home and we are getting paid while other people are sleeping in our homes. And so that's how we sort of ended up in the hospitality industry.
Interesting. Okay. Do you guys live in Ohio? Are you from Ohio?
Hold on just a second.
You good,
Got
Rose?
Stephanie. Okay, sorry. Could you hear me? Because my headphones turned off in the
I
middle
can
of each.
totally hear you. You're
Okay,
so
I'm
fine.
going to take them off. They
Yeah.
they turned
No,
off in the
no
middle of each.
worries. It's all good. It's all good. Are you
Okay.
guys are you guys from Ohio, Rose?
Yes. So my
Okay, I was
husband and I are
wondering.
both from Ohio. Yes, I grew up in Cleveland, and
Okay.
my husband grew up down where we live, in the country. He was a
Okay.
country. I sort of joke that I'm living a Hallmark movie because I was the city girl. My husband was the country boy in the flannel, mucking out the stalls. We met in college, and he entranced me to move to the country, and it all worked out. So that's all right.
That's hilarious. It is like a Hallmark movie.
It
That's
is.
so
It
funny
is.
to
Yeah.
me. I love that for you. Okay, great. So you guys kind of stumbled upon this hospitality industry as your husband was going, we've got to figure out something else to do here. What's going to make sense? And for you guys, homeschooling the kids and making sure that you guys what I think is really interesting is that y'all sounds like decided how you wanted to really live your life and the life you wanted to build with your family and with your kids, and you've let the businesses support that. But it doesn't sound like the business necessarily came first. It was like we decided what we wanted to do and then figured out how to make that possible through the businesses, which I
Yeah.
think
So
so like a leap of faith in so many different ways, but such a testament to what you guys are doing.
Yeah, and we have a big family and we love to go on vacation. My gosh, who doesn't? But it is so hard to find a nice vacation home that is kid friendly and also pet friendly. We have dogs and we want to travel with them. And this was a struggle for us every single year. And it was just like, if this is a problem for us, it has got to be problems for other people.
Mm.
But it's also the idea of like, you should do what you know. And I know how to travel with kids, how to set things up so my kids aren't destroying everything because they're very good at that. So one of my kids, who shall remain nameless, but everybody knows who it was, he's very creative. And I can say he because I have five boys, so that doesn't really narrow it down. He outlined the baseboards on the first level of our house in green Sharpie.
Oh, fun. I love that for
Yes.
you.
So, yeah, it was great. Very creative. But here's the thing, like I know how to set up homes where kids are safe, where kids are comfortable, but also where the adults that are traveling with them can be safe and comfortable. And
Mhm.
that's feedback that we've gotten from our guests is that they don't need to worry about whether their kids are touching things that are going to break or anything like that. And so that's just sort of like what I call the mom sense that, we want the kids to be entertained. We want the kids to have fun. But the other side of that is the adults who are actually paying the bills. They need to be able to relax. And that means, creating this environment where they feel like their kids are safe and comfortable. They don't have to worry about things breaking. So that's kind
Mhm.
of like, bringing the things that I knew and my background into a business where I could help other people that would hopefully have the same problem that we had.
100%. Okay. So you guys decided to start this hospitality business in Ohio's Amish country. Why is that so difficult for me to say? Ohio's Amish country. What was the decision on that market specifically? Why that area? And then tell us a little bit about the properties that you do have
Yes.
under your family's place umbrella.
So it's a really simple answer. We live here. And so we started a business where we live.
Yeah.
And this was before COVID. This is before everybody was data obsessed and you got to run the numbers and you got to do all that. We started a business where we live. And guess what? It's okay. But also, I mean, Amish country, I will say, is a total sleeper tourist destination. In Ohio, we are a drive to distance of over 15 million people. And Amish country alone brings in more tourists every year than most of the national parks do. And the nice thing is because it's a drive to destination during COVID and even now with gas prices going up, people are driving to us anyway. Nobody's really like getting on a plane and flying to Amish country. Okay.
Right.
So it's a drive to destination. And so that has been really helpful for us. So we started here because this is where we live.
Hmm.
And we really wanted to just, go deep on this concept of nostalgia, which is actually one of our brand values, because I think nostalgia kind of it taps into something inside ourselves. This almost like collective knowledge and these collective experiences. And that can be a really powerful emotion is thinking about the past and, with rose-colored glasses and how things were better, whatever that means in the past. And so that really evokes a lot of strong feelings in people. And so by really doubling down on the feelings of nostalgia, it really helps our guests become more loyal to our brand, identify with our brand, create memories with our brand that they just want to keep doing over and over again. And
Hmm.
so we've really doubled down on that. And not only are we 70% direct off of our own website, we get about 30 to 40% repeat guests every year because the value of the guest isn't that one-time stay.
Hmm.
I'm investing in relationships, not in transactions. And these people are staying with us over and over and over again. And that's the real moneymaker, not that one-off reservation.
I'm so glad that Level Up Your Listing brought us together in person because everything you're saying right now, I'm like, yes, 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 yes. And everyone needs to hear that. And something that was really powerful that you just shared was I am investing in relationships and humans, right? We're not just doing transactions. And that is something that I think, yes, this industry talks so much about the data and the numbers and the analyzing and this and that. And I'm like, yes, we're building hospitality businesses though. So let's not forget the people that bring us those dollars to the business, right? It's very much a relational business and so important to not lose sight of that in this industry, which is crucial.
there's a lot of data and there's a lot of people that are going to crunch data and all of that kind of stuff. And perhaps they feel more secure in doing that.
Mm,
It can be really hard to put relationships into a spreadsheet, right? It can
mm-hmm.
be hard to do
Sure
that.
can.
How do you monetize relationships? People always want to talk about that. But that's also the soft skill of hospitality. And there
Right.
are some people that just don't have the affinity for the soft skill of hospitality. And we are in the business of taking care of people.
Hmm.
And there perhaps are people that want to make money doing this because, these are great real estate investments and all that kind of stuff. That's great. There's no shame in that game. However, we are in the business of taking care of people. And if taking care of people, interacting with guests, doing that kind of stuff is just not for you, then you might not be a person who's cut out for that day to day in and out of hospitality.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so on the properties side, Rose, how
Yes.
many properties do you guys actually have? Is it one large property or like give me more details on that?
Yes. So we actually have two different kind of divisions, I guess I would say. We
Okay.
have our short-term rentals, and that's your family's place. We
Yep.
have 8 of those, and they are all on separate properties. So we
Okay.
have we don't have like one big piece as like a
Yep.
resort setup. Each one is on their own individual private piece of land. And since I live in the country, I am a little bit of a land snob, okay? I like to have enough land that you can walk around naked outside and nobody can see you, okay? So that's one of the things that I love about our properties is that they are tucked back into the woods where you can't see anybody else. So we
Mhm.
have a 10-acre parcel, a 19, a 32, and 11. Like we have, big pieces of land that our homes are. And one of the things that we did early on, which I didn't really understand the importance in the beginning, but now as we're more mature in the industry, I think it's something unique to us. We worked with an architect to develop a floor plan that works for us, that works for our guests. So we have what I call our proprietary floor plan, and we own it in 3 different sizes, and we build it from the ground up. So what I'm trying to merge is what's great about vacation rentals and what's great about hotels, right? So hotels, no matter where you're staying, they are fundamentally the same thing, right?
Mhm.
Pretty much the same layout. What
Yeah.
makes short-term rentals hard is that every unit is a unicorn, right? And that's hard to manage. That's hard to scale. That's hard to do all of those kinds of things. So we take what's great about hotels, the predictable floor plan and layout, and we apply that to short-term rentals. And so that's what we've been doing is we have been building our homes from the ground up. I mean, that's the advantage of being an Amish country also, is we have amazing resources and fantastic craftspeople here. And so we have built up our short-term rental properties ourselves. I've project managed them. We are coming to the end of a massive build right now, about 15,000 square feet, which is it's making my brain hurt. But we're almost to the end. We also own a collection of midterm rentals. So I do live in a small town, and yes, there is a market for midterm rentals in a small town, thank goodness, that was a huge risk and it paid off. And so we actually use our short-term rentals as an investment vehicle for our children because we are working on building a portfolio for the future.
Mm.
And so those are owned and managed under a separate company, and our children actually co-own that company and we manage it for them. So we're trying to invest for their future as well. So we have 6 midterm rentals, and then we have 8 short-term rentals. We also
Okay.
do not work with outside investors. We own all of our properties ourselves.
Nice. Nice. Wow. I love this. Okay. This is such good background for everyone. So you guys got started. You built the first properties. Okay. I want to know how you guys have reached this 70% direct booking because obviously so much of this podcast is about yes, like the OTAs are great, but I very much believe in not throwing your entire business model to a platform that you do not own and do not have control over. And it sounds like we may share that belief since direct booking has been such a big part of your strategy as well. So I'd love to
Yeah.
share, or I'd love for you to share kind of how you guys got there.
Okay. So here I'm gonna tell everybody what the hokey pokey is all about. I'm gonna tell the truth about how you do this. Okay. It's hard work.
Mm,
There we go. It's hard work. We decided early on, me especially, that we were going to build a for real business. And a for real business does not rely on a third party to bring in all of your income. That's giving up too much control. It is too risky for me. So we decided early on that we were going to create a real business but also by creating a real business, we are creating value outside of just the real estate. Okay. So we own the real estate. We have value from the real estate. It will appreciate over time. That's nice. But we have a property management brand. That's what your family's place is. And that is a brand that manages the properties, but it's also a lot of what I call intellectual property. Our logo, our name, we own the trademarks on all of them. Our website is digital real estate. Our social media page, all of those are assets that create value and can be monetized in the future. Okay. So it was important to me that I am building a for real business that in the future I can monetize and sell when the time comes that I want to exit. You cannot sell an Airbnb listing. Doesn't work that way. You cannot sell a Verbo listing. It doesn't work that way. And so when you are wholly reliant upon a third party, you are missing the opportunity to create a whole different level of value that you can in the future sell if you want to.
Mhm.
So if we're building a real business, we have to do the things that real businesses do. And we have to market. It comes down to marketing. All right. If people don't know a lot about marketing, first of all, you can work with Stephanie, but you can do that.
Again.
She can help you with that. And we do work with an agency for a lot of our marketing.
Uh-huh.
Heck, watch Schitt's Creek and be like David Rose. Figure out what your brand is and be on brand. Okay. Somebody asked me that once, like, where did you learn all of this about marketing? I said, I watch Schitt's Creek a lot.
It's a
Kind
good
of
answer though, because it's so true.
It's so true. It's so true. It's all, so a lot of it is branding. So what do real companies do? Well, what does Airbnb do? It advertises.
Hmm.
It figures out who its customers are. It runs ads targeting them. I mean, that's really what Airbnb is. It's a marketing company. It's marketing your product for you. Okay. I don't need them to do that. I can do that myself. I don't have the ad spend that they do, obviously, but I don't have to. I need to know where my guests are. I need to know what their motivations are, and then I need to curate my marketing campaign to target them. So think about what a real business does. And that's what we need to do. Unfortunately, some of us have really been drawn into this idea that we can run our business without actually having to find our own customers. And that's not how a real business works.
Everything you just said was like mic drop moments, and I loved it. Something specific that I definitely want to go back to because I have seen a number of different coaches in this space say, you don't need to worry about direct bookings or like, I love Airbnb. Let Airbnb bring people to you. You're never going to outmarket Airbnb. And something that you said, I think really speaks to that because you said, I don't need the ad spend that they have. I don't need that. I need to be able to speak to my people. And that's the thing. Airbnb is marketing much larger than all of us are in terms of our specific markets. So that's not an apples to apples comparison. And
Mhm.
what you just said resonated so deeply with that. And I love how you translated that. And it was really, really powerful. So I
Yeah.
wanted everyone to like go back to that and actually hear it. So Rose, you mentioned marketing, you've mentioned branding, and actually throughout this whole conversation, you mentioned like nostalgia is a brand value that you guys have. And I'm like, yes, you guys get it. You built the brand. You really established that. You understood what that meant. And then it sounds like you have an agency that's doing some marketing work for you. What
Mhm.
largely are you guys attributing to those direct bookings coming in? Is it paid advertising? Is it email marketing? Is it influencers? Is it social? Like, what is the strategy? What are you guys really doing?
So the answer is yes.
Okay, all
The
of the
answer is
above.
yes, yes.
Okay,
It's
great.
all of those things. We do a moderate ad spend. So I would think about like what would we spend in like Airbnb or Verbo fees. And at a certain point, if you're going to ad spend, you're not going to make any traction with $20. That's not going to get you anywhere. Okay, so you need to do an actual ad spend. We do an ad spend. We do email marketing. We send out at least two a month, and I work with a copywriter, and we have a schedule for the year. At the beginning of the year, I make a list. Here's all the things that we're going to talk about. We're clear on what the tone is. By the way, our tone is friendly aunt that just wants you to know what's happening in our life. That's our tone. We do email marketing. I do work with content creators. So I have a really clear idea of who my guests are, what other social pages they're following, where they're coming from geographically. If you don't know that, what I did, and it continues to pay dividends, is I went into my PMS and I downloaded all of our previous guests' addresses into an Excel sheet. And then I used a mapping software. I said, map these addresses because I had a feeling I knew where people were. So once I did that, I could just see like, okay, all of our guests, almost all of them are coming from this particular geographic region,
Mm.
right? And so that's where I need to target. I need to find content creators that are either geographically in this area or other people in my demographic are from there. So then I started working with content creators, and that has worked really well for us because people see that they see people in our homes that are relatable to them, that they've already been following and they already know, like, and trust them. So what I'm really doing with working with content creators is borrowing another person's audience. I'm borrowing their audience, and again, it's advertising. That's what it is. And sometimes people think you have a content creator stay with you and then they're going to create this viral reel. And then I'm going to have 10 million followers and I'm never going to have to worry about reservation. No, that's not how it works. That's not how any ad works, by the way. But you have to view working with content creators as a form of advertising. And when somebody is staying with you and sharing content, their followers are seeing it. Not all of those followers are ready to book a vacation right now. That's okay. If they give you their follow and you earn their follow with quality, relevant content, when the time comes and they are ready to book their vacation, you will be top of mind.
Mm.
So when you're working with the content creator, it is a long game. It's
Mhm.
not just like a one-up, ad, like a billboard on the side of the highway. It's a long game. And so when you earn those new followers, you have to keep them engaged with interesting and relevant content. So it's not just like a one-off flash in the pan kind of thing. So the answer is we do all of those things because that's what real businesses do to increase the folks in their funnel to get enough people who are ready to say yes to vacation.
I'm so curious about what you would say to this because this is the argument that I hear from
Mhm.
the hosts in this space. And it is, well, Airbnb, like Airbnb is the platform that's bringing people to me. I don't really want to go spend my money on marketing. Like, why would I do that when I can just go on Airbnb, be guaranteed a guest, and then pay them the fee for, like, okay, they acquired that guest. Kudos to Airbnb. So they get their fee or they get their cut, but it's no money out of my pocket for maybe results like
Yeah.
marketing.
But it is money out of your pocket because that's what your service fee is. Your service fee is a marketing fee.
Mhm.
That's really what it is. And not only did you have to pay that service fee, you also did not get the other, I would say intellectual property or the other information from your guest that allows you to market to them in the future.
Mhm.
Right? It's not just that one-time, one-off guest. So let's say you have 100 reservations a year. Okay. And you get 100 people to say yes to you. That's all you need is 100 yeses. Out in the big world, 100 is not that much, right? But then the next year, if you haven't moved those 100 people into your marketing cycle, the next year you need to get 100 new yeses from 100 new people. But if those people are already in your funnel, you're already retargeting them, you're already marketing them, maybe you only need to get 90 yeses. And then the next year you can get, those extra people in there. So it's the number of new yeses you have to come up with. If you're doing a good job, hopefully it comes down, right? But when you're going on a platform like Airbnb or Vrbo, someone stays with you, you're not, inviting them back or doing like that. You have to start fresh and get a whole new set of yeses every year. So you are already paying for that marketing, right? Not only are you already paying for it, you are not taking full advantage of the people that are staying with you. And so that's just leaving money on the table.
I think the other important thing that you shared in this conversation was the shift from we own real estate to we own a business. And that's something that I think is a major mindset shift for those that are building true hospitality businesses in this space and they're continuing to expand their portfolios. And I know there are many hosts that are doing something similar to you guys, Rose, where they're like, we're in this one market and we just want to be known in this market and let that be what it is. Um, And I think that that shift is something that's so essential to have when you start to think about, okay, what is our direct book? What is our brand? What is our direct booking strategy? Because that shift goes into we are business owners. How do business owners operate? How do they get their businesses out into the world? You're right. I mean, we've been very spoiled in this industry by having tools like, and that's the thing, they are just tools, Airbnb and
Yes.
VRBO, but they are not. When I hear people say, "Oh, we own Airbnbs," I'm like, "You don't own Airbnbs. What are you saying right now?"
Yeah. You don't.
So
Yeah.
yeah, no, but I love that you kind of shared that mindset shift of we wanted to build a for real business. So what do for real businesses do? How do they operate? And what does that
Mhm.
really look like?
Yeah. And I was having this conversation with a friend of mine at Level Up Your Listing. We were talking about the systems and the things that we create within our business. Okay. We don't just create them. What we've made is intellectual property. So if we change our verbiage about what we're doing, suddenly we think about it differently. Like
Mhm.
our email sequence is proprietary to us. So it's just our email sequence. No, it's proprietary to us. And so I've added more specific language that demonstrate I know the value of what I'm doing. So our language is super important because we are building real businesses. And when we start calling these things proprietary, we don't just have a floor plan, we have our own floor plan that we paid for to develop. It is proprietary to us. We don't just have, a logo, we have a trademark and that's proprietary to us and I can sell it. So when we think about our language, about how we value the work that we do, this is a real business. And so if we kind of flip some of that language, we go, yeah, I'm really not interested in paying somebody else all of this money just to start over again fresh with new guests every time.
100%. I totally agree with you on that. Something else that I think was helpful in something that you shared during this conversation today was when you guys are thinking about the business at some point potentially exiting that business or selling it in some way, right? Instead
Mhm.
of just saying, we'll just sell the real estate, you have built this full business asset that's going to be inherently more valuable with all of those proprietary pieces and assets that are at play inside the business itself. I'm curious, Rose, if you've done any research on what that actually looks like. If you were to just go sell a piece of real estate versus, hey, no, we can sell off the whole portfolio, but also as a business with all of the assets that we have also built underneath this. Have you done any research on what that looks like and what the
Yeah.
differences are going to be there?
So that what's interesting about selling like the intellectual property side of things, selling the brand is that it didn't really cost me much. I mean, like I paid for, my domain, my associated domains. Getting a trademark was really only a couple $100. Like, but a lot of these things are ideas,
Mhm.
right? They're ideas that I just made up.
Mhm.
Okay. They didn't cost me anything. I just made them up. And
Right.
so by making them up and making them real, I've given them value.
Mhm.
So one piece of value within your family's place are my management agreements. Okay. So now if you were to take your vacation rental and sign on with a property manager, you would sign a contract with that property manager, hopefully. And that contract, you hopefully, so that contract has value. Okay. And so that property manager could, depending on how that the contract is written up, could sell that to somebody else. And sometimes those contracts can be sold for 30, $40,000 each, just the contract itself. So my management contracts that I sign with myself, I've created, tens of thousands of dollars worth of value by having a document that I sign with myself, which is pretty nice. There are different avenues for going down and valuing businesses. A lot of it has to do with what your revenue is, and then a lot of these are sold at a cap rate. So
Mhm.
it's a little bit squishy with hospitality. Sometimes it's two, sometimes it's three, and it changes all the time. So think about what your revenue is and then what that cap rate would be on that. So
Yeah.
one of the things I would say, if you are planning on exiting or selling, what you need to do in the 3 to 5 years before you do that is you need to stop doing a lot of the funny tax thing, not funny, the legally permissible tax things that we do with short-term rentals. Okay. So a lot of people use the short-term rental loophole. They're doing things like depreciating the assets or doing all of that kind of stuff. But what those do is they are lowering your tax liability, right? So that it's showing that you're making less money. And so you're paying less taxes on less revenue. However, when you're getting ready to sell, you need to turn that off and turn the revenue up as high as you can, because then those, like, 3 to 5 years of revenue is what that cap rate is based on.
Mm,
So that you need to think in the long term here. Like, when do I plan on exiting? So when am I going to switch my tax strategy in the lead up to that?
got it. Got it. Got it. This was so powerful, Rose. I feel like you dropped so many golden nuggets during this conversation today. If there's one thing that you could leave anyone who's listening to this podcast today with, what would that be?
Yeah. So I was actually thinking about this, like, what is the truth that I'm going to say today? A lot of people ask me what I think is a it's a difficult question to answer. That's why I've had a hard time figuring it out. A lot of people will say, well, how do you scale this?
Mm,
How can you reasonably scale this? And I've been asked that question many times. But what I really think the question that they're asking me is, how do I get your results with the least amount of effort possible? And so what I want to leave people with is, this is hard work. This is hard work. It takes time. It takes concerted effort. But you know what it also isn't? It's not rocket science. This is not calculus. This is not high level physics or anything like that. This is consistent hard work over long periods of time. It's a marathon and not a sprint. And so if you are, reaching towards this goal, it's okay. Buckle up and know that you're in for the long run. Okay. And that's sometimes, like, gurus and folks, online are going to sell you this package or that package. It's going to be easy. It's not. And if easy is the word that's being used, then it's not being accurate. So buckle up. You can do it. Consistent hard work over time.
absolutely. Oh my gosh. So many mic drop moments during this conversation today, Rose. I really appreciate you being here. If everyone would like to connect with you who's listening today, where should they do that? What's the best
Yes.
place to come hang out?
So you can follow us at your family's place, and that's the vacation rental side of things. If you're looking for more of the behind the scenes of growing all of these humans who are very spicy, please follow me at Hosting in the Motherhood. One of my favorite things is words that came out of my mouth today, which always surprised me. Yesterday was, put the cucumber down and pick up the stuff off the floor. I mean, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I
things
love it.
like, this is not a journey, it's just to connect the dots.
Mhm,
Yes. So
mhm.
that is more like the, running the business, the personal side of things. That's more the personal brand side. So I would love for folks to join me over there as well.
I love it. So fun. We'll link all of that in the show notes for you guys too. Rose, thank you again so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, we'll see you guys on the next episode of Branded and Booked.